Okay, we just got through reporting on cash flow. That was the previous part 3 of this series. Now we're on part 4, and I want to talk more generally about finance, mainly financial management, and how important this really is. Cash flow certainly is a part of it. So let's get started here. I just want to say again, it's important to have a budget before you start any of this. So a budget was part of your business planning, your financial plan. It went into your the components of which were probably in your investor presentation if you had such a thing. But you have some idea of how money is going to come into the company via revenue and how money is going to leave the company in the form of a budget for all of your operating expense and all your payment to your manufacturer and your suppliers and money and consultants and accountants, which we'll get to in a minute. So having a budget kind of sets this whole process in motion. Before you walk into figuring out how to manage financials on a week-by-week, month-by-month basis, start with the budget. And once you've got that, you've got in your head and on some Excel spreadsheets, hopefully, some idea of how the money's coming in and how the money's going out. So let's go from there. Now, in the event that you are not an accomplished bookkeeper, which you're probably not if you're starting a company for the first time, although you may have some appreciation for it, but this is not your bag. It's not something you're really good at. It bores you to tears, whatever your excuse is going to be. But you need a bookkeeper. A bookkeeper is someone with 4, 5, 6 years of experience using various bookkeeping platforms. Bookkeeping platforms are like QuickBooks. QuickBooks is probably the most prevalent, particularly for a startup company. If you don't have an accounting system yet, I urge you just to consider QuickBooks and get on with it. It doesn't cost a lot of money, although it's not free. It can do probably everything you're going to need to do in keeping track of your financials over a long period of time. So this bookkeeper, aside from the qualifications, is one that really knows how to use QuickBooks. So your bookkeeper has the necessary experience to do all of this, but one of the first things we're going to do is use an accounting system, and I'm suggesting, of course, you use QuickBooks. Most of the accounting people you know probably know a lot about QuickBooks and can recommend to you in what form you're going to use QuickBooks, the kind of accounting system you need to have, whether it's cash accounting or otherwise, whether you need to do project level accounting and that kind of thing. So you start with an accounting system, and your accountant is going to do such things as create what's called a chart of accounts. It's simply the list of all of the accounts that represent how money is being spent in the company. So it comes from your budget. So take your budget and convert it into accounts within QuickBooks that reflect all your forms of accounting and also reflect all of your forms of income. Around those accounts is the accounting structure of your company. So this is really important that you have someone who really knows QuickBooks do this for you. Don't try and do this yourself, because there's a lot of nuance in creating the accounting system within QuickBooks that you're going to use for your company. This person will know what questions to ask you and can recommend the various features of QuickBooks that are going to be best for you for your company. So this person will help prepare your accounting system for you. Then, when your bookkeeper has finished all of that, you're going to have a discussion about what kind of reporting you would like to see. You, as the leader of your company, you're the president or the CEO, you want to see on some frequent basis how you're doing financially. So I probably should have said earlier that the importance of all this is that running a business without an accounting system is like flying an airplane without a fuel gauge, a gauge that tells what the airspeed is and the direction you're going in. If you don't have those things, you're going to probably crash into a mountain or fly into a lake, because you're going to be in trouble. So your accounting system is going to tell you and have the gauges necessary for you to drive your business from a financial point of view. It's very, very important. So the reporting you probably want to see are such things as the attainment of revenue on a month-by-month basis, the cost of goods sold if you're manufacturing something, the amount of spending in the month for operating expense versus your budget, because we got your budget in here too. Your accounts payable, what do you owe other people? When do you have to pay them? Accounts receivable, there's money coming in that hasn't arrived yet. Well, when is it going to arrive and how much is it? And that really important one that we covered in the previous video is cash flow management. So I would think on a monthly basis, maybe more frequently if you're really tight, on a monthly basis, you get a report from your bookkeeper on all of these metrics and others that you might consider important as well. So decide right at the very beginning what you want your bookkeeper to report to you. You want to know how is my airplane doing? Am I still in the air or am I headed for disaster somewhere? So have that person do the kind of reporting you need and on the frequency you need it. Then once a year, you get that wonderful opportunity to prepare for a tax return. And towards the end of the year, your bookkeeper should prepare for you all the reports that CPA, one who can prepare your tax return and file it for you, is going to need in order to prepare your taxes. It's a once a year task that your bookkeeper is going to have to perform, and you want to make sure that you've been able to review it before it's turned over to anyone else. So make sure that you're bringing in a person as a bookkeeper that knows how to do this. This is a question you ask in the interview. And then you're going to contract with another accounting-like person who has a CPA license and knows how to, and has some experience in actually completing tax returns. And that person takes that input from you and your bookkeeper, fills out all the forms that are necessary to file a business tax return in whatever form your business is. So make sure that you contract with a CPA that has lots of experience in putting together tax returns and at a reasonable price. So there you have it. That in a nutshell is what you have to do in the finance arena. And it's very important that you drive your airplane with these gauges in your face and you're looking at them frequently so you don't crash into the mountain or fall into the lake with your business. And while you're doing that, have a good day too.